Hey, this is Love Anarcho-capitalism, and today we are looking at real-life examples of anarcho-capitalism. So let's start with Celtic Ireland. In Irish society, the courts and the law were largely libertarian, and operated within a purely stateless manner. This society persisted in this libertarian path for roughly 1,000 years until its brutal conquest by England in the 17th century. And, in contrast to many similarly functioning primitive tribes, such as the Ibos in West Africa, and many European tribes, pre-conquest Ireland was not in any sense a primitive society. It was a highly complex society that was, for centuries, the most advanced, most scholarly, and most civilized in all of Western Europe. A leading authority on ancient Irish law wrote, "There was no legislature, no bailiffs, no police, no public enforcement of justice. There was no trace of state-administered justice." The other real example of anarcho-capitalism was medieval Iceland. According to David Friedman, medieval Icelandic institutions have several peculiar and interesting characteristics. They might almost have been invented by a mad economist to test the lengths to which market systems could supplant government in its most fundamental functions. While not directly labeling it anarcho-capitalist, he argues that the Icelandic Commonwealth between 930 and 1262 had some features of an anarcho-capitalist society. While there was a single legal system, enforcement of law was entirely private and highly capitalist, and so provides some evidence of how such a society would function. Even where the Icelandic legal system recognized an essentially public offense, it dealt with it by giving some individual, in some cases chosen by lot from those affected, the right to pursue the case and collect the resulting fine, thus fitting it into an essentially private system. The most used example is the American Old West. According to the research of Terry L. Anderson and P.J. Hill, the Old West in the United States in the period of 1830 to 1900 was similar to anarcho-capitalism in that private agencies provided the necessary basis for an orderly society in which property was protected and conflicts were resolved, and that the common popular perception that the Old West was chaotic with little respect for property rights is incorrect. The most interesting thing about the American Old West is that the crime rate was much lower than everyone imagines and even lower than in Europe of 19th and early 20th century. In fact, the biggest shootout in its history is the one at OK Corral, where 9 people were attending it. The most current example is the one from Somalia. Considering that Somalia's government has effectively been a non-issue for several decades, we could consider the country anarcho-capitalist. Giant corporations are overfishing their seas and starving the populations. Other corporations have dumped nuclear waste in their eaters which, when several containers ended up broken and on the shore, led to widespread radiation poisoning. Nonetheless, many anarcho-capitalists argue that Somalia was not an anarchist society. Thanks for your attention and see you in the next video.